You walk into your lease renewal and your rent has increased again. You check your bank balance. Pay went up, but nowhere near the cost of groceries, power bills, or rent. You're earning more on paper, but you feel poorer because prices are rising faster than your wage packets. That's not just your experience. It's a household recession in Australia in 2026. But wait, before we dive in deeper, hit subscribe and hit the bell to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential stuff. Let's get into it. All right, guys. The latest data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics shows the annual consumer price index, inflation, was 3.8% in January 2026, unchanged from the end of the previous year. Housing costs alone rose 6.8%, and electricity jumped over 30%. At the same time, official figures on wages show nominal pay rising around 3.4%, below the rate of inflation. That means your wage packets are actually buying less than they did a year ago. Economists and central bank commentary note that GDP growth per person has been weak or contracting at times, which is one technical definition of a recession, even if headline GDP numbers look slightly positive. In plain terms, prices are still moving up faster than your income, especially on essentials like housing and utilities. When inflation outpaces wage growth, real wages fall. You earn more dollars, but they don't stretch as far in real purchasing power. Over the next 6 to 18 months, rent costs will continue rising because housing inflation is still well above general inflation, and vacancy rates are low. Electricity and basic bills are adding extra cost pressures, so households spend a larger share of income on essentials. Savings rates get squeezed because more income goes to mandatory spending and less is left over. If wage growth remains slow relative to prices, discretionary spending shrinks. People cut non-essential costs first. In simple terms, owning slightly more isn't the same as feeling better off when rent, energy, and food are rising faster than your pay. Rents have grown faster than wages. Some analyzers show rents rising 2.5 times faster than pay over recent years. That means more of your income goes on rent, leaving less for everything else. Average wage or salaried households. Because wage rises lag inflation, many households are effectively poorer in real terms. You might get a pay rise, but your purchasing power shrinks if prices accelerate faster. First-time buyers. House prices, though slowing in growth in some areas, are still at historically high multiples of income, and mortgage payments now take a large share of average household earnings. This doesn't directly equate to a recession, but it affects financial confidence and budget sharply. Migrants and new arrivals. If you're planning to move to Australia, entry point costs like rent deposits and daily bills consume a higher share of starter budgets than in many other countries. Combined with slower wage growth, this can mean a tougher cost of living start than expected. Here's the core reality for Australians in 2026. The economy isn't in a traditional deep dive, but household income growth is weaker than cost growth. That means most people are feeling poorer, even if broader GDP statistics don't show a deep recession. Housing, both rent and ownership costs, remains a major driver of this squeeze. You're not imagining it. Higher prices on essentials and slow wage growth combine to reduce your effective spending power. This is what analysts refer to as a household recession, not necessarily headline GDP dropping sharply, but real living standards contracting. No hype, no politics, just the fact that money in your pocket buys less over time when prices rise faster than pay. Has your rent or living cost risen more than your pay in the last year? Are you saving less now than you were 12 months ago? Comment below with what you are experiencing, rents, wages, bills, so others can learn from your real-world data.